This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. Former Haitian dictator Jean-Claude Duvalier has died at the age of 63. Known as Baby Doc, Duvalier ruled Haiti from 1971 to 1986. He took power after the death of his father, who had ruled since 1957. His death came just months after a Haitian court ruled that he could be charged with crimes against humanity under international law and that he could also be held responsible for abuses by the army and paramilitary forces under his rule. According to Human Rights Watch, Baby Doc's rule was marked by systematic human rights violations. Hundreds of political prisoners held in a network of jails died from their extraordinarily cruel treatment. Duvalier's government repeatedly closed independent newspapers and radio stations. Journalists were beaten, in some cases tortured, jailed, and forced to leave the country. One of his most vocal critics in the 1980s was a priest named Jean-Bertrand, who would later become Haiti's first democratically elected president.
Despite his human rights record, Jean-Claude Duvalier was a close ally of the United States. After years of exile in France, Baby Doc returned to Haiti in 2011 and became an ally of Haiti's current president, Michel Martelly. In messages posted on Twitter Sunday, Martelly called Baby Doc, quote, an authentic son of Haiti. There is now talk about a possible state funeral for Duvalier. Many victims of his regime have spoken out against the idea. Robert Duvall was a political prisoner who was jailed for 17 months during Duvalier's rule.
You know what is a crime against humanity? It's like you're talking about torture, you're talking about disappearances, you're talking about summary executions, you're talking about starving people in jail, you're talking about genocide. You know, whole families have gone, even to the point of having children, 2 years old, be thrown in the air and come down in bayonet. This is the type of crime that his regime has committed. And he was the head of it for 15 years under the regime of Duvalier. It's a very well-known and very well-documented. More than 50 to 60,000 people have perished under these conditions I told you about. So to give this man a national funeral, that would be a slap to all of the victims and to the nation in general.
Robert Duvall. To talk more about Baby Doc's legacy, we're joined now by two guests. Jean Saint-Ville is an Ottawa-based Haitian writer, radio host, and activist. His website is godisnotwhite.com. He's joining us from Ottawa. Amy Willens is also with us, an award-winning writer and journalist. She's the author of several books on Haiti, including Farewell, Fred Voodoo, A Letter from Haiti, which was published last year and received the National Book Circle's Critic Award. She's also the author of The Rainy Season, Haiti Since Duvalier. She teaches in the literary journalism program at the University of California, Irvine, joining us from Los Angeles. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Let's start with Jean Saint-Ville. Your response to the death of Jean-Claude Duvalier and his significance in Haitian history.
Well, I think the first thing that came to mind is that if some people are saddened by this, they should send their condolences to the CIA and to the French government because they are the ones who supported Duvalier over all the years of that dictatorship, both the father and the son. And of course, it proves also that the regime we currently have in Haiti, where there's a puppet government that is pretending to be running the country, is not one where you can have justice. Duvalier returned in January 2011, and he did so because he knew that it was safe for him to return to the country where you had 7,000 UN troops occupying the country, and that the regime that was going to be elected was one of the Duvalier supporters.
And what about that return? What was the reason, from what you can tell, of his coming back after being out of the country for so long, and what impact did it have on the local political situation in Haiti?
Well, I don't think it really had an impact on the political situation, because the elections that were being organized in 2010, 2011 were all controlled by the United States and the Organization of American States. And they had already established that the most popular party could not participate, Famille Avalas of Aristide. So there were only two right-wing candidates who were allowed to go into the second round of elections by Hillary Clinton, who went in Haiti personally to decide who can go into the second round. However, the return of Duvalier for him meant that he was going to be able to continue to live a lavish life, because he had spent all of his money in Europe with his European supporters. When he divorced Michelle Duvalier, a lot of that money was transferred to his wife, the money that he stole from Haiti when he left in 1986. So you even have some of his supporters who were reporting that taxi drivers in Paris were collecting money to support him, and he was running away because he couldn't pay his bills because of the type of lifestyle he was living there. So he returned because he was broke. In essence, when Duvalier was rich, he was protected by the French government, and he spent his money into the French economy. And once he was broke, they returned him to Haiti.
We're also joined by Amy Willentz. Amy, could you, your reaction upon hearing of the death of Baby Doc?
Well, my initial reaction was that it was terribly sad for the Haitian people, who are now going to be denied their time to see him brought to justice for the crimes he committed against humanity and against individual Haitians. So that saddened me, and I'm still concerned when I hear that the president wants to offer Duvalier a possible state funeral. That's scary, because what I was hoping for was actually that even though the man who ran the government that was so cruel and brutal was dead, at least perhaps there could be a moment in court where the victims of Duvalier could say what had been done to them, could offer testimony to what they had to bear during his regime, so that at least the Haitian people would have a chance to hear that and understand their history. A lot of Haitians are too young to remember Duvalier, but Duvalier still is a very important person, and Duvalierism a very important kind of political philosophy, if that's not glorifying it too much, in their lives, even though they don't know it.
You mentioned the trial, whether or not it will go forward. I wanted to turn to comments made by Pierre Espérance, the head of the National Human Rights Defense Network in Haiti. He said he hoped the trial against Duvalier would still go on without him.
Jean-Claude Duvalier is dead. It's true that he died. However, the case against him continues because the victims had a case not only against Jean-Claude Duvalier, but against all who were involved from far or near, in torture, execution, disappearance, rape, and plundered public funds. Jean-Claude Duvalier is dead. We all regret the fact that the dictator died at 63 years. He could have lived longer and allowed the Haitian people to discover the truth about the Duvalier regime. Now we're waiting to see if the power in place, Martelly government, will give a national funeral to an old dictator. Don't forget that anywhere in the world where there were dictators, they don't benefit from that.
That's Pierre Espérance, the head of Haiti's National Human Rights Defense Network. Amy Willentz, the possibility of this trial happening even with Baby Doc Duvalier dead.
Well, it's unlikely, isn't it? I mean, Michel Martelly did everything in his power to make sure that trial would not go forward while Baby Doc was alive. I don't see him, you know, standing up like a patriot and saying, no, we have to have this moment of closure. We have to look at the other people who were behind Duvalier doing his bidding or acting on their own during the Duvalierist years. I don't see Martelly being that kind of a patriot in Haiti.
We're going to go to break, and when we come back, we're going to play a short clip of Killing the Dream, a documentary about the Duvaliers, and also find out about another former president, Jean-Bertrand, who was just put under house arrest, and what this means, and talk about Haiti today. Our guests are Amy Willens, the award-winning journalist, author of a number of books, including The Rainy Season, Haiti Since Duvalier, and Jean Sainville, who is a Haitian writer, radio host, and activist. He's with us from Ottawa. This is Democracy Now! Back in a minute.